Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Focal Plane podcast, to which of course you have subscribed, because if you hadn't, I'll still be a sad panda. So look, today I'm joined by two guests of extreme prestige. One, of course, who's returning for a second show, Cali Rivlin. Thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And none other than Robin Banerjee. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey Sam, lovely to be here.
And of course, Robin, one thing I'm just going to throw out there, which of course is that you used to be the guitarist for Amy Winehouse, the Amy Winehouse. So of course we want to talk a bit about that today, but really want to focus on you guys and your careers, where you've come from, where you are and where you're going, because I think there's going to be some fascinating stories there. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Cool, guys. So look, can we start off? Just tell us a little bit about how you two both came to work together, because I know you've done a lot of work together, you've done some shows together, you regularly play.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Do you want me to take? I'll
Sure.
I'll say from my point of view, and then Robin, you could fill in the gaps.
Sure.
I literally just yesterday I was rewriting our biography, so I put that in literally yesterday. I was thinking, how did we meet? I tell you exactly when. This was in 2013, and I was shooting a video at a place called The Forge, which kind of no longer exists in Camden. Very fitting that I should meet Robin in Camden. Camden Town, of course, the lovely, place of origin for Amy. And so I was shooting something there during the day because they had a fantastic piano. And then I kind of hung around there. And then there was one of the staff who told me, hey, you should stay around because there's a jam night tonight, and you were hosting this jam night. And he said, oh, we have a fantastic guitarist who's hosting it. And I said, great. And I stayed. And then he introduced me to you. And then he was like, oh, yeah. And Robin is always super accommodating. And when he hears someone plays anything, as you will see, he's like, oh, play something, sing something. So it's so gracious that you always do that. And so he did the same with me, although you didn't know me. And then we had a little jam. And the first song that we sang was the original single that Amy released, the first UK single she released, which is Stronger Than Me. And that was great. And we played it with the band you had on there during that jam night. We made friends. We went out for Chinese food in Soho. We stayed up till like 4 a.m. just chatting about music. I played you some of my album, which wasn't released yet at the time, my original album. And we've been friends ever since, really, and playing lots and lots of shows together, including the Amy Winehouse, official exhibition that we did with like some media coverage and all the rest of it. And it's been a great journey of musicianship, friendship, and jazz.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot. And Robin, I guess this is where you tell me that actually none of that happened. And what really happened is that she was just writing you fan mail all the time and you just gave in and were like, look, okay, fine. Well, I'll give in. We'll have a chat.
Yeah.
Is that really what happened?
Well, it was lovely to hear Cali's memories of things.
Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
No, honestly, actually, no, it's because it brought back a lot of memories because I do remember all of those things that happened. And
They did happen in your face.
It was nice to relive it all, So yeah, we played that first song together, Amy's single "Stronger Than Me," and I just felt like we really connected on a musical level straight away.
But that's quite a poignant thing, right? So you're playing that song, her first UK release, and of course you have your own history with that track. Tell us a bit about that. Then how did that connection come about? So you're playing this song that you obviously have a very intimate relationship with. Tell us a little bit about that. What did that feel like?
It's amazing. I mean, it happens to be, I would put it up there as my joint favourite Amy Winehouse song, the other one being You Know I'm No Good. Mm-hmm. And they're actually quite similar, actually, in kind of vibe and funky, slow, medium soul.
Yeah.
And my history with that song, although I didn't write it or play on the album of that song, I played it live many times with Amy herself. And it was always a band favourite and a crowd favourite.
Yeah.
And whenever Cali and I perform it, it's like a song that just settles you down, isn't it? Like we just feel, oh, we're here now, and we usually play it a bit earlier on in the set.
We always open with it.
Yeah.
I want to do like an Amy type of show, always open with it. It's great.
Yes, and of course, I was privileged enough to see you guys play at the Chuck E. Mead Theatre last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was that old cliche of "there's not a dry eye in the house."
Oh.
Was quite poignant. I mean, I remember. I think I mentioned it in our last episode.
Yeah.
I remember taking some shots of you down one of the aisles and then looking to my right, being like, wait, why are these guys crying? Oh, right, because it's emotional and good. Okay, yeah, sure, right. Back to the shooting. But oh my God, they were really like in tears. And it's just how powerful it was, you guys doing what you were doing. But the way it was coming across, the authenticity by which it comes across was amazing. I mean, well done to you both.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And to the rest of your band, of course, who are doing some amazing work.
Yeah, that night was quite special, actually. It was, in many ways, it was quite a roller coaster. We had difficulties with the sound, but somehow the energy was there for the performance. And I think when we do performances, especially with the full band, the energy that we give out really, really touches the audience members in very profound ways. Like you said, people are in tears, or it makes them think about events in their life, and you know, people get a chance to think about their own life and also enjoy the wonderful music that Cali and I, we get really good musicians together to play and make sure they know the music of Amy well. And you know, that's another factor as well.
And I guess this might sound like a bit of a naive question or potentially a bit of a cliched question, but yeah, that sounds amazing, right? And of course I witnessed this firsthand. What does that do to you when you're on stage? I mean, obviously, I understand that when you're there, you're not seeing necessarily what's going on in the audience. They're in the darkness. You don't actually know fully how it's going down. But to A, hear that after the fact, but B, know that's the effect that you're having on people. Is this why you do it? Is this kind of where a lot of your drivers come from? Is this where a lot of your passion comes into it? Just fill us in.
It's most definitely a big part of why I personally do music, is that the reward is just giving something that's precious to you to someone else and let them enjoy it. And it's definitely, I would say, to put it in percentage terms, it's like 70% of the reason I do it. And the other reasons are perhaps, you know, I get to travel or experience a new, you know, not being in my house all day and being, being at a gig, not like kind of mundane reasons.
You gotta keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving all the time.
HB in a train, you know, play it. What was that? Lady Gaga thing? Club. Another club.
But yeah, I mean, it's so powerful that even just that 1 hour on stage, the atmosphere and everything that is created by the performance is magical. And to think we're kind of partially responsible for that. And
I guess, and on that, I guess for both of you, and I expect you'll have different answers to this, I don't know, but what would be your like stand-up gig performance? And I don't even necessarily mean where you've both performed together, but tell us about that.
Oh, wow. Stand-out gig. I suppose different gigs stand out for different reasons, for the better or for worse, because you get a stand out terrible one, you get an amazing one. But with Robin specifically, we've had some amazing gigs that were, you know, very different if we do it with a band or just us acoustically, because we've been playing together for like 12 years, 13 years, a long time, and had different collaborations through different shows, whether that's something that we do in tribute to Amy or something that is completely different, Jazz Divas show, or like jazz soul Motown-y type of like vivacious, it's very different. And I think to also say something about the question earlier, yes, it is definitely a reason why I get the audience's, you know, a live feeling. Live is live. You know, live is so live, and it brings different things out of you that would never come out if you were just sat in your living room or practicing by yourself. They would never happen. And sometimes it's the magic of it, and it's the crux of it. It's everything. It's like you can only plan so much, and sometimes something that happens live will just knock your socks off in a good way. I would say the Trading Boundaries gig was really special. It was the first time we've done this was a few years ago. We did an Amy homage there, and we really like took the band earlier. We rehearsed it with them properly and kind of gave thought to the arrangements we want to do for Amy. And that for me was a very special moment to get to bring it to life with a full band and a full horn section. And with Robin, who like MDs it, who's, you know, does the musical direction for it and really says it. And when you do that with a band, they really, the way they listen to you and the way they take note is very different because they know that you've worked with Amy. And so that's a very different thing. And we specifically, and this I'll you know, to Robin's great credit, is that you don't just want to like, okay, it has to be like this. So you are so open and free and welcoming of other musicians, other singers, to give their own, you know, point of view, to give their own flavor into the music. I absolutely love that. And I love doing our own arrangements to Amy. I think I think in a funny way, it's difficult to say, but I think she would have probably enjoyed that, to do something that is an arrangement of, I don't think anyone could be Amy. No one could be her, but I think it is the kind of artist that she was. She has such artistic integrity and such creative force. I want to honor that and bring your own kind of viewpoint to that. So I'd say that show to me kind of stands out. And there are other ones, but we can get to that later. I would like to hear your answer. I would love to hear your answer.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite shows, there are two favorite shows with Cali. The first one was the Checker-Mead gig, because of the way we went through this kind of roller coaster with the sound.
Yeah, that was nuts.
And we sort of made the best of it. The musicians really pulled together, and we just got on with the show. Sometimes the show must go on to everything.
Yeah.
Mentality.
Sure.
And I think we all really went for it that night.
Yeah.
And particularly Tarek on the trombone and our special guest on the keys. He was amazing as well.
He was fab. And the audience were amazing. The audience, they know, you don't tell them like, oh guys, it's been they didn't know, they knew nothing. And so for them, they've come in, they just want to have a good time. And the audience gave us incredible energy. You could hear it back from them, even if you can't see them exactly, because you're right, you've got lights in your eye and stuff. But I think when you're on stage, you can hear it back from the audience that they're like, or they're like, wow.
A good sign is when they start off a bit quiet and you're kind of working out how it's going to go.
Yeah.
We call that, the break in the ice period.
Yeah.
And then they sort of seem to really just get into it, song by song. I can't remember, did we take a break?
We did,
we took a break. So like the second set, they were like, they knew what was going to come. And it's sort of, they were ready and primed for a good time.
Yeah.
And the other show that we do is a Jazz Divas show, which is a mixture of like famous jazz singers from the past, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and also we mix singers from the present, like Amy and we've done like a combination of Amy stuff and jazz stuff. So we've done a show at Toulouse-Lautrec with our friend Nick Gilmore on keys, and it was just a special. We have a special bond. It's like a trio.
It was fantastic.
That was fun. That's a venue in South London that we often do. So those two.
Was it just because it was the three of you, or was there something else special about that? Or
I think because sometimes doing these little intimate gigs are sometimes the most emotionally driven gigs.
Of course,
you really hear every instrument, every note of the voice and the guitar, and I like that as well. And it's like more of a sit down audience. They listen and then they kind of clap, sort of thunderous style after every. There's this kind of like weary silence while they listen. Sure. And then they go crazy.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess I'm only ever used to seeing rapturous eruptions of applause for you guys, having seen that one show. But
But you were amazing backstage. You were such a wonderful, calming presence.
Thank you for
told
saying,
you to come in at a certain time, and we were nowhere near ready at that time. I thought, oh, great, let's do some, because you were doing the photography there. And just tell the people who don't know. And I said, oh, come around that time. We'll be ready for you. And we were nowhere near ready.
Yeah, she wasn't even dressed. Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even dressed.
But you had a calming effect on everything.
Yeah, you had a really calming effect.
Just
you were
presence.
so great. Yeah. Which is what you need, especially when shit hits the fan, and happens sometimes, and unpredictable, live is live, right? But it was just a lot of sound issues. But once we got through that and we managed to get sound on, there was just no sound. Once we managed to do that, we were like, okay, we're gonna roll with this and make it the best that we can. And it was great experience, and fantastic musicians. They really pulled through, and it was pretty special.
Yeah, really. I mean, that kind of, when you talked about earlier about how, things weren't going right for you on stage, but actually you just locked in.
Yeah.
And people feel that, people feel that when you are in a zone where it's like, look, we're relying on each other now.
Yeah.
Let's understand why we're here, why we're doing it. And that's, that's what, from my perspective, is what differentiates the seasoned pros from people who are kind of learning those lessons as they go, right?
Yeah.
Because I presume you will have all been there, right, in your own journeys where things aren't quite going right, and you can't shake that frustration, and it affects your performance and it affects the outcome, and you learn those lessons. But actually, there was a group of musicians who are so honed in, so on it, years and years and years and years of just crazy experience amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
that's special. It's special to watch.
Yeah, you only need like 2 or 3 musicians of the band who are to be very experienced and pass that energy on to the other guys. And probably half of the band have like done gigs the night before, or whatever. They're kind of gig fresh, so they know how to just get on with it and not kind of like get too hung up on stuff that we're kind of out of our control.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
But you know that John Mayer quote where he says, he said, there's 2 shows. There's the show for them and the show for me. And the audience could be having the best time ever. The show for them is great. The show for me, I'm thinking, I want to be there and present with the people, but I also am running calculations. How well is this going? What's the transition to the next song? I have to cue this thing. I have to do, what's the time? Am I running out? What's the transition? There's a lot of calculations and your mood and your whatever physicality that goes into the show. And so I think so long as the show for you is fine, I never want the audience to be affected by it, because the thing is that you do have, I think, a duty, an obligation for like live music to put that aside. And that's partly kind of the direction I'm big into now, is like the life of a musician. What does it really mean to be a musician? Sometimes people think it's like this glamorous thing being on stage because that's mainly what they can see. But we know, 3 of us know that that's not what the case is. Really, 90% of the time, that's not the case. 90% of the time, you're doing a lot of like life admin, technical stuff, coordinating logistics, blah, blah, practicing. You're doing other things. And then there's 10% of your day or of your time that's like on stage, performing, creating, which is really fun and rewarding. And that's kind of why you want to do it. Like the playing, you get to play with other people and other musicians. And I think when you're not really aware of that and you're expecting everything to be an explosive fun, A, you can't sustain that energy for like that, long. That's too much. But B, it also makes it really difficult for people to kind of like get to where you are, to understand your everyday life of what you're going through. They will have some idea that you're in La La Land and you're like having fireworks. And you're like, no, I'm emailing till like 4 a.m. Like, dear sir, I hope this email finds you. I don't know how this email finds you. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's just.
Well, now we know.
Now we know.
Get an email now. Great. You don't care, Kelly.
Yeah.
You don't care how I am.
No, it's like 4 a.m. me sitting on my couch is like, I hope this email finds you out.
This lady, she's the only person I know up at 4.
He's worse than me.
Yeah,
I called him last night at like 1 a.m. I'm like, hey, and I knew he'd be
We've
up.
spoken at 4 a.m.
We have.
Sure we have.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's worse than me.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be up till 3, and then I've just changed it to like 1:30 now.
Still very reasonable.
but I know.
For me, it's like it's usually. It's not a deliberate thing. It's usually like editing.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. So I'm gonna kick it while I'm there to make sure it gets done well. But I've had a lot of editing to do lately. So, yeah.
You do. You do lots of editing and very good. Yes. But what I'm saying, like with that in mind, I'm thinking, okay, there are a lot of things that the audience will never be aware of, and it's fine that they're not aware of. I want to spare them that. And as far as I'm concerned, I do have a duty and an obligation. If someone bought a ticket and they're coming to see you and they're planning for a certain fun night, you can't be like, guys, you know what? I had a terrible day and I'm this and that. Oh, I'm feeling ill and I can't do. They don't care, because then you're moving them over across the slate. Instead of being your audience, they're now not your audience. They're concerned members of the public. Now they're not able to enjoy your show. They're just kind of like that natural empathy. They're just worried for you, and I don't want that.
But it's a fine balance, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got like you
can share.
And I've spoken with guests on this podcast who brought up this point as well, where we live in this kind of mindset, or at least we used to. Maybe it's shifting a bit now. Of you leave your problems at the door, right? When you're there to do your job, whatever that might be. If you're performing, if you're in a certain profession, whatever, you leave that outside. You're here to do your thing now, and I guess yes, historically, like we all do that, and we all still do it. We'll continue to do it, but at times it's hard to know where that line is.
Yeah,
it's hard to know where it's okay to bring it with you. It's even harder to know when you shouldn't be there anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Actually, should I even be in this place? Should I be even asking myself that question? Should I leave this at the door or not?
Yeah.
And I'd be grateful to hear your perspective on this, because I see and have heard of lots of musicians really burning themselves out.
Yeah.
And just going, look, you know what, I'm going to take an extensive break here for ominous reasons, but actually they find themselves over a threshold that they didn't expect to be over. can I just hear from you guys? Is that something that you've either come close to or you've had a personal experience of, or something you get worried about in your careers?
Sometimes, but I'd like to hear Robin say something about that, because you've been around very big time musicians. I wonder if you have any kind of ideas on like how they might handle burnout, or not, or completely crash.
Yeah, I mean, I've witnessed people go through struggles, and also myself, I've gone through struggles as well. And obviously the high profile example is Amy Winehouse herself. Going through a lot of addiction problems and trying her very, very best to overcome them and stuff in the way that she knew at such a tender age, So I saw that firsthand, and it was tricky, to see her journey. But and how it would pertain to me is I also, I'm 52 now. Hopefully, I've got many more years to go. But I ran into a bit of a brick wall about 3 years ago when I had a kidney transplant due to diabetes type 2 and symptoms with that. So that literally stopped me in my tracks. I spent nearly 40 nights in hospital over a course of a year, getting the kidney transplant and various other symptoms like gout and can't remember what else, other symptoms and stuff. So that was an eye-opener, and it stopped me in my tracks. And I feel like now, it literally is a cliche, but it's like a new lease of life that I'm living now. I'm living now with a health condition.
Sure.
But I'm living with it, with the knowledge up here and in here, rather than burying my head in the sand, which was what I was doing before. I'm grateful, obviously it's cliche, but I'm grateful for that experience now, because I feel stronger in myself. I know myself more, my limits. And in order to continue to being an artist, I think we need to be fit, strong and healthy to do it. It's like any other job. You really have to have a certain, a minimum amount of energy to do the job. You can't just be running on empty all the time. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my experience so far.
But I mean, that's very poignant to hear. I mean, you are your own business essentially, right? That's it. It's not, if you're not turning up, nobody is. It's not as if you have, do you know what, I'll just send the little mini Robin understudy you. It's not going to happen. Yeah. And I mean, what was in your head at that time when you were kind of in the real depths of this, so many nights in hospital? Were there moments where you were kind of just, hey, look, I'm uncertain as to where this is going to go. I'm uncertain as to what my music's going to look like. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, I literally was just sitting there in the hospital bed, reevaluating or evaluating my life. And first of all, I had this sense of relief that I was out of the firing line, whatever that means. Like, because in life and being an artist, you're a night owl.
Yeah.
You do gigs, you do rehearsals, you travel, and you're a one-man band, so to speak. And I realized how much I'm doing it all alone, and that perhaps, asking for help isn't a bad thing, or having a healthy social circle as well was something that I wanted to create. Maybe spending more time with my family. That's what kind of came up inside of me, and also just I guess staying true to my musical values, which is just I just see myself as this kind of freelance guy who just plays jazz, loves jazz, and playing music, and I thought I really want to do that like more seriously, when I get back on my feet.
I guess I have so many follow-up questions from that. I'm trying to think in my head which direction to go with this, because when you say that to me, I'm curious. I mean, you've been many years in jazz, like many, many years, right? Have you known anything else? You say it so kind of, I don't want to say nonchalantly, but you said it's like, maybe I'll go and play tennis tomorrow. Like it's a bit like, but that's decades that you've spent being a jazz guitarist. It's so interesting to hear you say it like that. It's so interesting to hear you say it so nonchalantly.
I think what it is, because I've learned over the years to not take art for granted. Like it's like a gift, and I have to kind of continue to be grateful for it and continue to work hard towards being the best musician I can be. So I never think, oh, this is forever. And you'll hear this from a lot of musicians and singers that every year we have to create a new life, a new bunch of work every year. It's like a yearly thing, you know. Whatever I'd done last year, I mean, this year's different. It really is. I'm doing different types of gigs, and so it keeps you on your toes. The uncertainty, it's important to have some kind of spiritual belief, I think, but to deal with the uncertainty. So I kind of developed that as well, like faith in a higher being. It's not necessarily a religious space, but just something to fill the uncertainty and the void and the loneliness and the sadness, you know, just with something more tangible. Because music alone can't fill that. But in order to do music, I feel I need this kind of spiritual base. So I do meditating occasionally and prayer in the morning every day, actually.
Is that something that's come about since you had your health difficulties? Something since you've had before then, or?
I've had it since my mid-20s.
Okay.
When I hit a bit of a wall with my life, and and I just started to feel like more connected to God or whatever. And I would say that's helped me with the internal struggle I have with my emotions, like loneliness, sadness, and sort of this feeling of not being enough. It's really helped me with that, and I feel like I'm more of a whole person as a result. I've gone down roads of like finding groups and to help me and stuff, which has really helped enormously. The various groups that I've attended, and I definitely realised that I had a bit of an issue inside, a bit of a wound that I feel is probably still there actually, but I deal with it the best I can.
I mean, that's very interesting. You say, I'm trying to put this into perspective. Really, you found that space in your mid-20s. 52 now. That's some time where it's sounding to me, the way that you're speaking about it, it's sounding to me that wound is still real, that you mentioned.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, like the wound specifically is like a mixture of kind of loneliness, sadness, a sense of unfulfilled, you know, fulfillment in my life. It's sort
what
of,
do you think drives that?
Probably from my upbringing, like I was put into care when I was like 4 years old by my mum because she couldn't cope with having a child and stuff. So, and I felt a bit lost from about 8 years old. So I've been dealing with that feeling. You know,
was there a particular event that happened at that time, or was it?
It wasn't really any particular event. It was just the fact that maybe coming from a broken home, it kind of caused a bit of an issue with me, and I guess that's when I turned to art and to fill that space.
That void,
yeah. Initially, it done the job, but then you have to continue to sort of.
Yeah, I mean, life becomes nuanced then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And suddenly, the black and white nature starts to become shades of grey.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a question that I'd like to ask actually regarding music. So, how did you come about to? What was your first encounter with music? This I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at school, they asked, you know, what kids want to do, like the guitar or the piano, and I chose the classical guitar when I was 10.
That's pretty astute. What made you? How did you know? Did you ever hold a guitar before? Were you playing it? Did you have one, or how did you know that?
Well, my first influences were like jazz guitarists. So George Benson, the jazz guitarist, I heard him on the radio, and I thought, I want to play a bit of that. And I was like 12 or stuff. But when I was 10, they just offered it, and I just naturally went towards the guitar.
Sure, amazing
strings and the string sound and like that kind of acoustic feel.
And so you started playing it at school, and then you kind of just continued on that. What was your route into it? I've never asked you this. I don't know how I managed to miss it. But what was your route into it? When like you got a guitar, you started playing it. You were like, oh, I dig this. I'm pretty good at this. And then what happened? In terms of like bands in school, whatever.
Yeah, I had a band at school when I was like 14.
Nice.
My friend played drums, and the other friend played keyboards. So we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm quite good at this guitar, so I want to kind of study it further, and went to music school.
Which music school?
I went to the Musicians Institute, otherwise known as GIT, where people go and learn about how to play modern music, jazz, rock. That was in Los Angeles. I went there for a year.
Yeah.
When I was
so you
19.
went to MI, but that was later.
MI, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Before then, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of finished school at 16 and then just went straight into music, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have a particular goal in mind at that point? Do you remember thinking, this is the direction I want to go in, here's what I'm aiming for? Or was it a bit more nebulous?
It was a bit nebulous. It was a bit kind of more like,
What a word.
I think I want to do music, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. And it wasn't until I enrolled in my first course in London when I was 18 that put me on that kind of path of being like a professional player. You know, every boy, you know, dreams of playing like a guitar or something, and that was no different.
Every man does as well.
Yeah.
Every man does as well.
So I wanted to do that, and then it became like professional, which is not really what I dreamed about doing.
Professional.
But I don't think anyone dreams of becoming a professional player. I think they just want to just play music.
Big
but
stadiums
professional comes later, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The professionalism comes with the profession later,
Yeah.
I find. I don't know how professional you could be at such a tender age. Even I say tender, even like people who are 20, I'm like, oh, you're a child, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Although, you know, 20 is an adult, kind of. But
Sure.
I think, I'm like, oh my God, I was such a moron at 20. I don't give myself any, I was still the person I am, but I knew, I just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I felt like I was a very flighty artist at that point for me, where I was like, la, da, da, da. I was traveling the world, I was doing stuff, but I didn't really, I was too, flighty.
I mean, respect to people who do know, right? I mean, like you know, when I'm 20, early 20s, I'd say even later than that, you just kind of, I was certainly just meandering around. Like,
No,
in
I
my mind,
knew what I
but,
wanted,
you know,
but I just was such a, I knew I was going to be a musician.
Sure.
But I didn't know how exactly to get to where I wanted. I took a lot of, let me go here, let me sit. I lived in lots of different places around the world where I was like, and always made a community of musicians around me. And that was a really big, saver for me. That was huge.
But I guess, coming to what you were saying, so when when you came to London, 18, you started to find a direction for yourself. Tell us about that. What did that look like for you?
Well, as you know, as soon as I enrolled in a course, I felt like, right, I'm on a path, and the path of music is tangible. After being in the kind of wilderness when I was 16, 17, not knowing.
Sure.
I think it really is valuable when someone decides, right, I'm going to do a course, and because then you meet other musicians, you meet other teachers. So when I completed that, I was on the London scene, thrust into the scene with these kind of skills of being a player, but then you have to kind of use them. So I then started going to lots of jam sessions, and that was the key to me, to meeting new people. And I've always maintained that throughout my career, meeting new people at jams.
How we met.
That's how we met.
It is, yeah. Oh, the story is true.
It is true.
Yeah. And especially in London, because there's so many people from all around the world that come to London.
Yes.
So I had no problem meeting other musicians, drummers, bass players, singers, for example. And then eventually, the way that it works is that it's other musicians that offer you shows. Yeah. Not agents, not at the beginning. It's other musicians who recommend other people. And so that's how you get 80% of your work.
Is that still the case now?
It kind of is, really. I mean, unless you're like a corporate wedding singer, then it comes from agencies. But if you're just doing kind of casual covers gigs or whatever tribute gigs, it's usually word of mouth.
Or jazz stuff, that's how we know, and through Robin, I know a ton of musicians that I've worked with in many different capacities through jam nights, this year, that, and the other, it's a network, right? It's a community of people that very organically forms. And you'll see them play and you go, oh, I dig the vibe, whatever. There'll be something about it. There you go, I dig this. This is great. And that's how you've gone with it. So could I have a follow-up question. So, okay, you did that. You went to MI. You got back. Yeah. So how long did you spend in LA? And then when you got back, what did you do then?
I spent just over a year in LA. It was an amazing experience because you're with players kind of a level above one's own ability, and you're learning from the players as well as the teachers. Yeah. So I came back with this absolute belief that I wanted to just play the guitar for a living. I still didn't know quite how it was going to happen. Yeah. But I knew instinctively that being in London, you were going to meet the right people. And I also loved pop music and popular music. So there were a lot of artists at the time. I remember having an audition with the singer Dido when I was 21. And she came round to my house with her manager.
I can't believe she came to your house.
Yeah. And again,
that's why Eminem wrote Stan.
Yeah.
It was you.
I think I'm pretty convinced that it's before she hit the big time, literally just before. Yeah. And I was a bit nervous on the day. They chose someone else in the end, but I remember that fondly because it's another musician recommended me. Yeah. It's all word of mouth. And that's how it's been really up to now, just people recommending.
Yeah. Myself included.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how then? So I don't know how far we're jumping forward here, but how then did the Amy Winehouse thing come about? So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate enough to be in a band or audition for a band called Jazz Jamaica. And it was like...
you have to say it like that, otherwise it's not real.
Jazz Jamaica. And I'll be forever grateful for them because they're an amazing big band that plays reggae, a very unique kind of thing that they have here in the UK. They're still going, and they promote up-and-coming new musicians in their bands. They have established musicians alongside, and I was one of the newbies. I was the only Indian guy in a sort of Jamaican band in North America. So I felt like a bit of an imposter, but then I learned on the job. I learned how to play reggae. I admit I hold my hands up. I didn't know much about reggae, but I just started studying Bob Marley and like the obvious, and then went a bit deeper into like the Scatterlights and the Specials and stuff, ska and reggae.
Yeah.
So I kind of became quite an expert in that band, and they would tour internationally. We'd do Ronnie Scott's. We'd done the BBC Proms at the Albert Hall, and they had a jazz night, which was amazing.
Yeah.
In 2003. And I heard through the grapevine that Amy Winehouse knew about Jazz Jamaica, and we had the fortune to open for her at a gig in a festival called the Ross on Wye Jazz Festival.
And what was that? Sorry to interrupt you there for a bit. So at what stage was Amy in her career at this point?
At that point, when I first met her, she was just released the Frank album in 2003-04.
Okay.
So it was 2004.
So this is where she's at, really at the height of where she's known about.
No. She was like, if you like, domestically, people knew about her name. Okay. And she was doing small jazz festivals.
Okay.
I remember on the day she rocked up in this like little minivan.
Yeah.
And like, she just released this album that everyone just loved. And there she is getting out of a minivan. Her bodyguard or road manager had to lift her up because it was muddy. So he lifted her all the way to the stage.
Wonderful.
And I just remember like Amy Winehouse being carried to the stage.
Like a golden little thing.
You're just waiting for someone to do that for you, right?
That sounds really uncomfortable. Actually, I'm like, oh, thank you. But she was tiny. She was like very petite lady. So yeah. But I think that would have been a great time to meet her, probably to be into that, because she was so celebrated. I think it's one of those like your favorite musician's favorite musician, that type of thing. I think Frank, which was the debut album, which was released 2003, made the circuit, but only like nationally, only in the UK. It wasn't an international release, really. Okay. That was Back to Black in 2006. So Robin, I think, met her at such a great moment. And so you met her at the festival, and then what? You said hi.
Well, I said hi. We didn't really, actually, to be honest, we didn't say hello. I just saw her.
Yeah.
But then within a month, I turned up at this night called the 10 Room in Regent Street in London. And they have a kind of jam night for soul, jazz musicians and session singers.
Sure.
And Amy turned up with her friends, her entourage and everything at the time. And I kind of was on stage sitting in the jam part of I wasn't part of the house band, so I just sat in. And then after I introduced myself to Amy, and she said, "Oh, you're that guy from Jazz Jamaica." To my amazement, she remembered me. And so I just exchanged numbers. I remember writing my number on a bit of paper and ripping it out. And she put it in the back pocket. She said, "Thanks, mate. I'll let you know. I'll be in touch." Like, literally, I'll never forget that moment. And then a whole year went by, and then she was looking for someone at that point. And then the musical director, who I knew very well, a guy called Dale Davis, fantastic bass player, and Amy's musical director, he called me up and said, "Oh, they're looking for someone. They'd like to, invite you." No audition, just straight into the rehearsals.
Boom.
Based on the fact that she'd seen me play a bit with Jazz Jamaica.
Gotcha.
That was kind of, okay, he can play. So I was buzzing for like 2 weeks after hearing the news,
Yeah.
So that's how that happened in August of 2006. And the rehearsal started middle of that month.
What was your first rehearsal like? I can't believe I've known you for as long as I have. Oh, nearly 15 years now, and I've never asked you this.
It's because you keep sending him emails saying that they hope they find him well. That's it.
That's where I messed up. No, it's because I tell you why. It's because anytime I see you, we're on our way to sound check, and then we get into the gig, and then it's like, well, we have to run, and then we're focusing on running the. Speaking of like the musician last time, we're focused on running the thing that we're gonna do, and then we have to finish our thing. Oh yeah, sure. You want us to put our stuff out the way, whatever venue it is. It's a theater, it's a jazz club.
Sure.
What do you guys want to eat? How are you going to sit there? And then you chit chat with the other musicians, and then it's sort of like bam, 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 and I have to run now. I got to get home, blah, blah, blah. And it's just difficult. So although we had plenty of conversations that tend to be things that are more regards, because we've been friends for so long, it'll be more about like, I'll catch him up on how I'm doing, he'll catch me up how he's doing and talk about musical projects, and less of like, so in 26, this is not the conversation we normally have.
We haven't been on a tour bus together yet, so those stories will come out on the tour bus.
Excellent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the first rehearsal like?
It was amazing. The first rehearsals with the Amy Winehouse band were at the Sensible Music Studios.
Sensible. What music, rock and roll.
And it's still there today. It's kind of a high-end, if you like, rehearsal studio where they have all the equipment there. And it's just off Camden. It's on Brewery Road.
Yeah.
And we turned up the first 3 days. Amy wasn't present. We knew that. So we just got to grips with the material. Mm-hmm. And then Amy rocked up, a few days later, and like just was so natural. Just picked up the mic and, started singing Me and Mr. Jones and Bob's Your Uncle,
Yeah. I love singing that song. It's such a good song. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first show you did with her?
The first show was at a venue called The Fleece in Bristol.
Oh.
So the whole itinerary was printed out, a UK tour.
Gotcha, yeah.
So like the Fleece in Bristol, the Wardrobe in Leeds, the Junction in Cambridge, like mid-size venues like of about 1,500 people. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's sort of mid-size.
No, for Amy, not really.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an interest show.
Yeah. For how popular and height of her fame she was then. Was that already kind of crazy famous? Because that's when Back to Black was released already, but I don't know in what.
Yeah, it wasn't actually at that point. Back to Black album, had just been released, so it hadn't had time to mature.
Yeah.
And but the shows, she had her die-hard fans already by then.
Yeah,
that would be at the front row. We recognised a lot of them because they'd come to all the gigs. And there's one lovely story where the singer Corinne Bailey Rae,
I love her,
stood in the front row of one of our gigs, and she'd already sold 2.5 million albums.
Wow!
And she apparently, I found out later, they were very good friends, and she was just coming there to support her friend.
Wow!
But that was touching to see other artists, that respected Amy's work, turn up and stand in the front row for 2 hours and stuff.
That's incredible.
So then, so how long then were you there in that space with Amy in total?
In total, just over a year. I was part of her live band where I toured the UK, USA, and Europe with her doing. Some of it was duo, so it was just me and Amy, so we'd really get to know each other and get to know Amy as a person. And she was just such a lovely, down-to-earth, kind person and had a big heart. Naturally talented, gifted, rarely spoke about music, actually, funny enough. All she wanted to do was play pool and maybe have a pint or something. And we took some funny videos on my little Nokia, which I regret not having. I didn't save them.
Oh no!
Dude.
Oh man, can you imagine? Like just saying, "Hi, Amy, how's it going?" And we'd do these little accents together, like the Northern Ireland accent together.
Is that where that came from?
That's what came from.
My tears dry.
Yeah, tears dry on their own. And then she would say, I say, Amy, can you say it back to me?
These are the things that will get me hate comments. Yeah.
Every soundtrack, I always hear it's like, let's do tears dry. I didn't know that was like a bit you ran with Amy too. That's so funny.
I would actually be there like with the phone, like, okay, can you say back what I said? Like, and she wouldn't. She said, no.
She was too smart to do it. Fine.
So I don't blame her for that. But so those moments were special, just on the plane with her, and sometimes the tour manager would be with us, and that would be radio promotion of the Back to Black album, which had been released. So we'd be doing tracks like Back to Black and Love is a Losing Game acoustically.
Yeah.
She'd bring her Ibanez acoustic guitar with her and let me use it, which was lovely. And
is that the one that was at the exhibition?
I believe so.
Red one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Not the red one. It's an acoustic one, so maybe it's a different one.
Okay. Because there was one, I can't remember what it was, but there was the Amy exhibition basically where they display all these like different things from her life, including like dresses she wore, her Grammy that she got, posthumously with Tony Bennett for Body and Soul, all these amazing things, and a guitar that she played on, and different photos of her from her childhood. Yeah. There's a lot of really amazing things in that exhibition, and including like a guitar. And then she wrote a song from her first album named Cherry. So quite it's a little bit of a deep cut. If you're not like a hardcore Amy fan, you maybe would miss that, but it's a song that we love to play live. Her name is Cherry. We just met, and then the end of that song, the thing of it is like, I'm talking about my guitar. So she had a very intimate connection with her guitar.
Yeah, she owned 2 guitars from my knowledge. She owned a cherry red guitar, a Gibson cherry red, and then she owned this kind of Ibanez acoustic.
Yeah.
So probably one or both of those were at the exhibition, I think. Yeah.
Wonderful. And from that time, what would you say was your standout show?
I'd say the Shepherd's Bush Empire gig, which took place on May 29th and 30th. So it was a double header. And they made that into what's now a famous DVD, live at Shepherd's Bush.
Is that where she's wearing an orange dress?
Yeah, no, that's live at Porchester Hall, which was 3 months earlier.
Okay. There's one where she's in an orange one she's in a silver grey.
Yeah, the silver grey one was the Shepherd's Bush.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what was it stands out for you for that?
I think it was because it was the final shows of the tour, of the UK tour of that particular leg. And for me, it was just I could just get on a bus and go home. It was like down the road. I live in Willesden, and it's like a 2:20 bus straight home. Sort of.
I love it.
And the sound and just the performance. Like Amy was so on it, majestic and natural and stuff. And me personally, I felt that I performed well. I had a good sound. My solo on Cherry, is there, and it's been documented live on the DVD.
Wow.
Which I'm so proud of. It's probably my proudest memento.
It's phenomenal, honestly.
Yeah.
And so how old would you have been at this time?
I was 32.
32.
That time.
So you kind of...
Tell a lie, I was 33.
33. Oh, sorry.
People say,
Someone fact check this. Well, hang on a minute.
Fact check, yeah.
We're not corroborating a murder witness, so it's fine.
Yeah, where were you on the night of Shepherd's Bush gig?
Give or take, here and there, it's fine. But I forget, like, what a life, like, I know it, and one of the things after a while where someone, you're kind of like, okay, you put it to one side. And I sort of forget about that when when you have like a proper friends relationship with someone. And then I'm like, shit, that is a really big deal. It's such a huge thing. And also, the whole band was on the Back to Black video, which has, I think, over 1 billion views or something ridiculous, which is a lot considering how old, like when it came out. Now, a lot of newer videos, even if they're not as iconic, will have that amount of views.
Yeah, for an
older, older video to have been like 20 years ago released, to be so popular and so lasting, which I think the legacy is a huge thing, where the music just sounds timeless. From the second it came out, instant classic, it just sounds timeless. There are a few records that are like that in music, but not loads. And I think Amy definitely achieved that. And to have her whole band on some of the videos, and Robin's on there, and you can see it, and it's like, it's just very exciting. It's amazing. I forgot about it, and then I watched it like a year ago or 2 years ago, and I was like, that's Robin. I didn't even realize you're on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and again, this might be a bit of a naive question, but you're there for that year, touring with her, going around the world. You end up in Shepherd's Bush, of course, like you say. But in that time, and I'm imagining that, of course, this whole promotion of Back to Black, which of course became the icon that it is now. What sort of changes or reflections did you see in that time? Like in that year? I guess I'm talking about Amy specifically to a point, but how was that vibe of actually now suddenly she's starting to, get that international recognition, get that kind of actually a household name now, from just a year or two before where she was more like the musicians known to musicians, etc. What kind of things did you see and observe in the space that you were in?
I mean, in Amy, I saw a kind of young woman, mature over the course of a year into like just someone who just knew what she was doing on stage. She was like amazing. She knew the music industry That's what I realized. She was so savvy up here. Like she just had media training beforehand.
Did she?
Yeah.
I find that shocking.
At the Brit
You wouldn't
School.
know from any interview she's ever done.
Yeah,
she was so rude to them.
I don't know how long that was for, but she'd done it.
Manners.
I know.
Girls'
No,
school.
the back of a napkin. Yeah, all right. No, thanks. Yeah, okay.
I think, she studied at Sylvia Young and then the Brit School. So I think she must have got something.
Must have had something.
And a lot of what they teach is like media training, how to be an artist.
Yeah.
And that came out, all that experience and what not to say, what to say in front of the camera. Even on stage, she would just do her thing. What was not present was nerves in any kind of situation, be it TV, Glastonbury. She would just be the same Amy. That's what I noticed in that year. Like, despite what was going on off stage, on stage, and even in around the tour when she was with us, she would just be the same person. And I was really struck by that.
Yeah.
She wasn't just a superstar, a manufactured superstar. She was a human being and with feelings and personality. She had a great personality as well, which shone through as well. I found, she would always have a witty answer for things.
She did some really funny. I've never met her, unfortunately, but I just from what I've been hearing about her for years and seeing interviews, I think she's on it. She's funny.
And people sort of knew her without knowing her. Well, people I've met over the years saying, I thought I really knew Amy, and I related her story. And I think that's how Amy just wanted to be. She just wanted to be herself. Fame was like a byproduct. And she unfortunately had to deal with fame because you actually have to negotiate it as well, which I found she probably struggled with because that wasn't really what she wanted. I think deep down, no one really wants the paparazzi following you around everywhere and demanding, or you just want to be an artist and get on with what you love doing. And I would say she was thrust into this kind of world, maybe involuntarily. I don't think she really knew what was in store.
Yeah.
And of course, I can only speak to what I know of, see of, hear of. But the cliches are there, aren't they? It chews you up, it spits you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know from various things we've seen, read, understood of how that can affect people and how it has affected people. But what were your learnings then from that time? And what did you take forward? How did it change you as a person, that experience that year?
I did feel I grew enormously in that year because we were on such a roller coaster of success, of controversy, of all sorts of stuff, being thrust into situations I've never been in my life, like being at 6 a.m. lobby calls for flights to Washington and Chicago, and having to just be there as kind of a session musician on call. It was really like a great learning experience. I'd recommend that for any musicians to go be a session musician and go on tour and like learn the ropes. Don't shy away from that. If I know there's a lot of people out there probably want to do it as a dream, and I think it was definitely a dream for me. So I would say people should go for it. Musicians should.
Were there any kind of things that really surprised you about that, or any misconceptions that perhaps you yourself might have had prior to actually doing it that you had to dispel yourself?
Yeah, I suppose. If I'm honest with you, I thought maybe I'd be doing.
No, please lie to me.
I'd be more. to be honest, TBH. It was different than how I imagined.
Sure.
On one thing, I'll answer that in a minute. But then the other half was, it was exactly how I would have dreamed it to be, and even better.
Okay.
So it was kind of a mixed thing. The former is that you're definitely a session musician, like a gun for hire. So you need to be available on time, be professional all the time.
Yeah.
And if you sway from that, you are liable to be let go. Potentially. There was a couple of moments where I probably could have been let go. I'm not going to go into that. One of them was funny. I played a wrong chord a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I don't think Amy was that happy. And there was
I imagine she wasn't.
There was talk of maybe, like, can you just not do that again? Like, I was given a lecture by the MD.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which is fair. It's normal things that happen, but obviously that was a wake-up call.
MD is a musical director.
Yeah.
For everybody listening.
And any MD would have to have that conversation, difficult conversation. So I was like, oh gosh, when you know when your position is on the fret, you think
you've had that yellow card.
Yeah, you've had the yellow card, but obviously
Yeah.
it's valuable that they tell you what the issue was,
Yes.
and then you can correct it.
Yes.
So from then on, I think I've done okay on the playing side. And then I think just dealing with the day in and day out of being a session musician, gun for hire, I couldn't quite in my own mind come to terms with that at that point of my life, but I nevertheless got on with it. And the second part of it is that just playing in these wonderful venues, have your perfect sound done for you. I always had a guitar tech, so someone who would take my guitar and tune it and replace the strings and stuff.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Do you know, I had one experience of that, sort of, where back in my old band days, we opened for Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that was the one and only experience of like, oh my God, everything's just done. Like you play a chord and it sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Great, cool, off we go.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, is this what it's like? Cool. Well, I want a bit of that then. Sadly, that didn't happen. But that's great to hear, though. I mean, and it sounds like you had moments where maybe you're not describing it as pressure, or at least that's not what I'm hearing. It's more a kind of, okay, there's a lot on the line here at the same time. So you have to know in yourself that you're here for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that is something that sounds like it would chew you up and spit you out as much.
Yeah. I think what kept the integrity for me looking back is the fact that Amy was a jazz musician and that we were playing music that we all loved. And we were all able to express ourselves at different points of the concert and show what we do best. Yeah. And she allowed that. She facilitated it. So for me, even today, it still rings true where I will totally give myself to a project if I feel there's something in it, like something musical, fulfilling in it. It can't just be playing covers for the sake of covers.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and that's how it was with Amy. We played her amazing music, and I was able to do guitar solos, and I would always be pushing the MD, can I do a little solo here?
Well, I'm going to anyway.
I'm going to anyway.
Bill and Ted style. Yeah,
what was that saying about, like, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than for permission, beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. And I think that's good. You have to sometimes take it. That's kind of what also makes you, like, the music is bursting out of you. And I will say, you're the least jaded musician I've ever met. Like, you're just very on it, creating a fresh kind of perspective, which is really important, because I'm sure we've all been there where we see musicians like, they're painter and decorator musicians. They're like, okay, I'm here turning out to do a thing. That's a friend of mine's phrase. It's like, what? He's a painter and decorator, So, and that is a shame, because, like, you're creating. No, this is the stuff of life. You're creating music. You should, like you say, be very grateful for it. Celebrate it. It's important. It's not just a thing. It's not another job. It isn't. Like, art and creation and that kind of creativity. It's a huge thing, and it's a huge privilege to be giving that to people. To take that, make it your own. I think that's the job that you have as an artist. Whatever you're doing, if you're playing an instrument, or whatever, singing. You have to take it, make it your own, and then present it, deliver it with an intention that rings true to you. And I love that you do that fresh in a new unit of time every single time that you grab your guitar and go on stage with me, with anyone that you do it. And I've seen you do it, like, very consistently for years. I think that's amazing. And you're always happy to, like, get into new musical adventures. Like on that night where we met, I remember, because we got into your car, we drove to Chinatown. It was like, oh, we're hungry now. It was like 1 a.m. or something. We're hungry. Let's go eat something. What's open? Chinatown. Great. And then I was like, and I played you my album that I just had like a few copies of it. I think it hasn't really been released. And I played it for you, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. I definitely would love to, like, make some music or put some guitar on it or do something with it. And I thought, how great is it that, that we just met and you're already so, like, musically inclined, and we had such great musical chats for years that you just never were jaded about. And I think that's exceptional. And then I have a question for you. What are the things that now, looking back, from where you are now, and then looking back and looking forward, what are the things that you like the most when people ask you about Amy, and the things that you can't stand when people, like, mention her or whatever? What are the things that you like or that you don't like about the association? Because you'll forever be associated with her, of course. Yeah. So what do you think about that? A couple of things. I do like when people ask me, oh, how was Amy? What was she like? Yeah. Because then that allows me to answer honestly, and I then think of how my interactions were with her, which were often pleasant, and she made me laugh, and
I think I was like an older brother for her, and we sort of really got on really well. So that's nice. And then also things like, what was your favorite concert, or, I don't know, just memories of Amy herself as a person.
Yeah.
That's nice. Maybe things I don't like, just kind of maybe more things about her personal life that I can't really give you the concrete answer to that. I can only guess.
Yeah.
And it's a mixture of like, I don't know what to say. Yeah. And also it's a bit kind of not breaking the ice, like straight to the kind of, how did she die, or how did she, what were her struggles, I mean, what were her struggles is a fair question, but it's not usually worded like that. It's usually sort of, it's just, I think people get quite excited because they sort of meet me and they think, oh, I knew Amy, and sometimes they don't know what they're saying. Yeah. And they get a bit confused. And I've learned to rise above that and like realize that I have a responsibility as someone who knew Amy to give an honest, fair, balanced view of her. I do feel I'm carrying the torch for her a little bit as well, as all the former musicians are and people who knew her.
Yeah.
So, and I never get bored of talking about Amy and my association with Amy as well. In no way do I see it as like a rod on my back or anything, or in any way. I see it as an absolute privilege, because I've learned also, at the age I am now, maybe not to define my musical ability or my journey as I'm only associated with Amy. I have my own career as well, and I feel secure in that now. But maybe with the fact that she's passed away, I feel I've got some wonderful memories that I love to share with people, because I know that people who ask do want to know.
Yeah,
they just have an inquisitive. Most people are really lovely, and they just want to know about her and stuff. And I understand that, and I feel very privileged they would ask me, actually. So
it sounds like, I mean, I would never say to anyone that I was a big fan of Amy Winehouse. It just wasn't really my sort of thing. But I can imagine people in good faith wanting to go, hey, look, that's somebody who will forever be an icon of some description.
Yeah.
So with that comes a lot of good faith curiosity, but also from your side, you I guess, rightly or wrongly, you carry that mantle of responsibility, don't you? You were there, you had some amazing experiences, that your perspective is so precious. And I think that's what I'm imagining, like somebody fangirling over it, just kind of wanting to just really go, look, there's somebody who's seen a side of Amy, her career, that I've never been able to know, I've never been able to understand. Of course they're going to be curious. But,
it's a bit like, I loved Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk to his musicians or something. Yeah. I'd never met him, obviously, Sure. It's the same sort of thing, like the next generation have the most questions to ask, because they never knew anything about her except what they see in the media, social media and stuff. So as the years go on, the questions get more profound and more... like every question, I value their questions, because it's like they're really interested and stuff. And I do have a responsibility. It's not like I don't want to answer them. I do. I feel. No, honestly, I mean, I have such wonderful memories of Amy myself, and I treasure them.
Yeah,
and I'm not a mean sort of person. So if someone asks me a question, I will try my best to answer it. I do. Obviously, if it's a bit kind of off the scale, crazy. Sure. I mean, what can I say?
Of course.
I tend to laugh it off now. I'll just change the subject.
So,
but that's also part of the responsibility that you bring, right? Like, you can't at the same time represent something that you yourself aren't sure of.
Because
that carries weight.
I would never lie and make something up about her. And I wouldn't not tell the truth if I felt it was appropriate.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it was something a bit too personal, I may not edit the truth, but I may just change the subject or something. But just because it's sometimes inappropriate to say things, or
That's what I imagined, actually, that maybe some of the questions are just too yellow, too sensationalized and tabloidy, and you go you know what, guys, and I think you're right, in the same way you hold carry a torch for her. I feel in a very different perspective, but a real privilege and a real duty and obligation to, I don't know, carry a torch for really quality musicians. And what I would consider quality musician, no matter the genre, by the way, is someone who had a lot of artistic, creative integrity, who can really pave the way forward, who is unapologetically themselves, not to something or in order to whatever. Like, that's who they are. And I remember I had a conversation with someone who's another friend of mine who's a phenomenal, iconic musician, who was David Bowie's drummer, Woody Woodmansey, and he's phenomenal. He said to me, and I asked him kind of similar-ish questions about that. And he said, with David Bowie, not even his own mother could have stopped him from being the artist and the person he was meant to be. That's, deliberate. There's something about it where you go, that's just who they are. It's not like something that they have to put a lot of effort into being or not being. It's just when they wake up, that's what it is, and that's what comes out of them. And I think that is something young people should see today, especially with like social media, TikTok generation, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. We see a lot of the downfalls of that. And I think it's the authenticity now, I think, is being trademarked in a funny way. So to kind of like bring it back to nowadays in modern music business, music industry terms, I struggle with that personally, because everything is like, okay, you feel like it's a direct hit or an invalidation on you if you don't have enough numbers, enough body count, enough all these things, all the stats. They think, does that make me a lesser artist? Does that make me a lesser musician? Things that people, I'd say 15 to 20 years ago didn't even come anywhere near to their. They would have had, Billboard, radio sales, la la la. Sure, they would have had other stats that they're dealing with, and but not like it is today, where your only sort of value and instant gratification is like how many likes, how many views, how many blah. And that's so difficult to do. But then for me personally, how I deal with that is I try to just bring it to like, do I think it's good? Do I think it's enough? Do I think I've done my best? Am I proud and pleased with this product, and
that comes down to the integrity that we were talking about before, right? It's actually,
and that's why I love celebrating artists like in the Jazz Divas show, where it's like all these iconic, jazz artists like, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, and Eva Cassidy, Nora Jones, Amy, all these like artists, Etta James, that are just phenomenal. And I think that music stands the test of time. It'll always be good. It's classic. It's amazing. I love delivering that in sort of you find your own into it. And with the Amy shows, it's a whole homage that celebrates her. And then Robin, whenever we do these shows, whether as a duo or as a band, then Robin, that's a very unique point that you have in the show throughout, where you talk about her and you tell stories. And we don't really plan that bit out. We just kind of say roughly when we're going to have a little, story time, but we never plan what it is. You always just kind of, and often on stage, there's been times where you've surprised me. Where I was like, I didn't know that, a lot, where it just kind of comes out. And I like it to be authentic and I don't like this sort of like manufactured authenticity where people are like, check out what happens next with this guy. I put like, and it's so obviously a setup. I'm like, who do you think, who are you doing this for? Who's the setup for? It's insane to me. And I hate it. It makes me hate the bit. I'm just like, just say, I put in a camera and this is what happened instead of like that front. And so I love it in a show where you have those moments of authenticity. To me, that's my happiest place. And I'm going to take the time now.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug time. Good.
Shameless plug. Oh, who is this? Yeah, okay, so this is, oh my God, look at what happened here. Yeah. Which camera should I be doing this to? There's so many cameras, guys. You don't even know. There's like 7 cameras. Okay, so this one is the Amy Winehouse homage called Queen of Camden. This is a project that Robin and I started. We've done so many different shows and different variations. Again, different sort of musicians line up. This one is with a full band, and we're doing it on July 18th on a Saturday night. Saturday night's all right for fighting, and it's all right for Amy as well. For Amy fans, we're doing it in Forest Row at a very big theater there. So, we'll put some links in, but that's our next show that's coming in July, which we're very excited about.
We're so excited. We've got a full band for that.
Yeah.
And we're going to play the songs of Amy Winehouse, some covers.
Yeah. Like covers that Amy used to do that she's associated with. And we love getting into it and creating our own rearrangements. And sometimes we use some of the same guys and sometimes different guys. And it's always good fun because we really keep it fresh and alive. And we're bringing back lovely Tarek, who's our trombone guy.
Oh, brilliant.
Amazing. Yeah. Exceptional human being.
He's a bad man. Bad Man on the Bone.
Bad Man on the Bone.
I feel like that's his own podcast episode.
It's so big. But it's like,
there,
because he plays keys and trombone, he's like, should I go on the bone? Should I go on the bone or on the keys? What am I doing? And it's funny.
Excellent.
Shout out to Derek.
I sincerely hope you've got someone decent lined up to take photos for it.
I'm racking my brains on who good to take. I just don't know any good. I wish I did.
I don't know any good ones either.
I wish I knew some great photographers who live locally and could come do it. I wish I'd thought of it. I just know no one good. Nothing. No. Sam is going to come in.
Yeah.
Snap some photos.
Sam time.
Which I'm really excited about. And we're doing all the promo for the show, and we're kind of like looking over at all the files and looking and I've given the team that's like doing all the stuff. I gave them all the files with your photos. Brilliant. You've taken some brilliant photos of Robin. They're fantastic.
Excellent. Well, it makes it easy, with that face.
With that face. Oh, wait, do the gig face. What's that? It's kind of this. Like, no, but there's another one. There's like this. Yeah. This is like jazz faces of like spiritual enlightenment. Like, I can't even believe how good this sound is that I make it.
I can't believe it.
But you had, man, you guys had the vibe that day. Like, your cherry red casino and your outfit, everything was just like on point. Absolutely on point.
Give us a.
Yeah, man. There'll be another outfit. For sure.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's some outfits. Could I ask a question of you? What are you looking forward to in terms of your career? Obviously, there's some, there's the aspect of Amy shows that you do in different capacities with people around the world when you're so busy traveling a lot, touring with everybody. And then there's other shows that you do with original artists, with jazz things, with your own jazz quartet. What are you kind of most looking forward to?
Well, I love the journey I'm on right now, which is doing several Amy Winehouse tribute shows internationally and here in the UK. Particularly with a lady called Holly, who has a project called Absolute Amy. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be touring Dubai, Morocco, and Canada next year. Wow, I've just heard. So that's really exciting. Mm-hmm. I know that you and I have shows upcoming, like this particular show on July 18 and maybe a Jazz Divas.
Yeah, there'll be some Jazz Divas.
I always feel excited about those. And also, I work with, as you said, a lot of young artists. Like there's a lady called Bethany that I do covers gigs with, and
she's really good.
Yeah, and in Germany, I've been working with a couple of artists there. Lisa Hulinski, who's a very good artist, and also Laroni from Munich originally, but she lives in Berlin. So
that was the last video.
Yeah, that was the last video on my thing. So I'm really excited about playing original music. What we do is we do some original music and a bit of Amy in the shows, and I really enjoy that because I get to play the original music of that particular artist and get to travel as well. So a bit more of that would be lovely to continue doing. The jazz quartet thing is not really on the cards at the moment, but my first passion is jazz. I grew up listening to like George Benson and Miles Davis and stuff. So for instance, I always practice jazz every day.
Yeah.
To keep the general musicianship alive, the chops up.
Keep the chops up. It's true. You got to keep jazz chops are. It's a different standard than people are like, absolutely. Let me do a few chords.
Oh yeah, man. You don't use it, you lose it. This is the thing, right?
And the the Amy music is definitely jazz. So we know because we've worked with different musicians throughout the years, and you have to have some kind of jazz into it. Otherwise, it just doesn't have the same a groove to it or a funk to it or
Yeah, because they said when I was growing up, learn jazz and you'll be able to play any style. Yeah. And I didn't quite understand what they meant. But what I've learned through learning jazz is you then learn the subtle chords that might be written in the songs like written by the Beatles. They have a few. Or, Amy, of course, and Adele even. Every artist has these kind of jazz movements. Mm-hmm. And if you just maintain that jazz practice, it can kind of help with all the styles that you do.
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to a lot of reggae and soul and, I'm a reggae soul boy really at heart.
I'm a soul man.
The jazz came later, but
came first. Yeah, good, excellent.
If I remember jazz, I didn't really love it at first. You have to fall in love with it, I think.
Yeah.
Because I had to understand it. And they say if you have to understand something, you don't really like it. But I ended up falling in love with it.
Yeah.
Especially after I heard John Coltrane particularly play that sax on some of those iconic records. It was just like, wow, is this incredible? I mean, Yeah.
I remember this thing that always sticks in my head, and I'm going to misquote it because I can't remember the exact quote. But there was this joke that like Noel Gallagher always used to make, which is like jazz is basically 4 people on the stage enjoying it 1,000 times more than the 4 people in the audience.
I know this quote.
I may have got the numbers wrong, but it's something like that. And I remember just, when would I have been? Like early 20s, I'll be hearing that, thinking, yeah, man, yeah, jazz sucks. Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. I'm never going to touch that. Yeah. But
we have to bring it back to Oasis, because the people who haven't seen the first time around of this round 1, we were sitting right here in this very room.
Very true.
And then you mentioned I said something about Richard Ashcroft. I'm a huge fan, and he was opening for Oasis, which opening for is a huge whatever. Anyway, so I was desperate to get a ticket for the Live 25 Oasis, and then you mentioned it happened, and I was like, well, what's this?
I wasn't going to mention it on the podcast because everyone would just hounded me for that ticket. But so I had one.
No, but you did. You ended up mentioning, are we talking about the show or whatever? You ended up mentioning, and I was like, we're going to discuss it later. Cut to the end of the story, ladies and gents. We did go to the Oasis show together, and it was fabulous.
It was great.
Great.
It was biblical in every sense.
It was really fantastic. And just we went with, what was it, your brother and another friend?
Yes, a good friend of mine,
And Wembley Stadium, the whole shebang. I was super excited for Richard Ashcroft. I was more excited to see him than Oasis, but I was very, very excited. It's a phenomenal show. And so I was, as I walked in here, I was like, all right, what's going to come out of this one? The last time, it was an Oasis show.
Just for both of you, right? Both of you have had some incredible careers. And I just want to know, like, if you had the opportunity, if you could go back to yourself, 20-year-old Robin, 20-year-old Cali, and look at those people in the face, what would you say to them?
Good question. What would I say? Don't be so fucking stupid. I might say that. No, I wasn't stupid. I very much am aware that I'm the person that I've always been. Since I was, very young, a child till now, I very much carry the same kind of attitude and vibe. You wouldn't have been like, oh my God, she's some other, like I was always the same. But I think I was alarmed by the amount that I just didn't know. I feel like I was too oblivious to the music industry, the things that I didn't like, where I was like, oh, no, I don't like that. I think there's so many things that you don't know unless you kind of grow old. And I'm thinking a younger generation now is growing up in a different world. And so it's impossible to compare, really, because there's just so much more data around. I remember when I first heard about an email, and I'm like, oh, what's that? That's something that younger generation now are just never, they're going to grow up accepting that there is such a thing, a cell phone, an email, and blah. I'm so old, I'm realizing now, but never mind that. So it's, I would say I would have liked to be a little more savvy on like the music business part. The music bit, I love the journey that I've got, but the business side of things, you do have to be on it. Mm-hmm. And I would like to be on that in order to bring myself to, bigger and bigger things. But I'm very pleased. I've had opportunities to do like a bit of a shortcut to fame with different reality shows and music shows, whatever. And I was always hard pass. And I stand by that. I wouldn't have wanted to be famous for being for the hell of it. I think that's a hard gig. To be famous, I would like my music to be known. And so I would say to myself, okay, stick it out a little bit more on the, the other administrational side and the non-fun music bit to get to the reward of where you need to go.
Fair. No, that's a good answer. Yeah. Fair. How about yourself, Robin?
Well, I guess I would tell my 20-year-old self just to believe in myself a bit more, I know that I didn't have confidence at that time. So I'd say you are good enough, to do life on life's terms and be a musician if that's your chosen thing. I would have said just continue with that. Continue on the path that 20-year-old didn't believe in himself. Just continue on that path as a human being, and everything's going to work out. And maybe. I wish I'd left home a bit earlier because I stayed at home until I was like 30. That's embarrassing. But yeah, I stayed at home because I wasn't really earning enough money as a musician.
Sure.
I should have taken perhaps more of what I wish I'd done is taken more of a bit of a risk and gone out and got gigs, maybe even done weddings to earn a bit more money, so I could have been a bit more independent. Instead, things took a bit longer for me. I eventually would say I got there, but I would say
you more than got there.
My growth was stunted sort of in my 20s a little bit.
Sure. But hey man, that's I mean, both of you, they're great answers, right? So, and I think hearing the integrity by which you both go about this, and hearing how your reflection around, look, there's less fun parts of it, but sticking true to your guns, and believing in what you're doing and what you're producing, in the same way that you said, look, you want to believe in that journey that you're yet to go on. Here's what can happen, and look what you've done with it. And I still am struggling to get my head around some of that, it's an incredible journey that you've had. And I hope that whatever demons we were referencing earlier in this conversation, I sense are still there to a point. But so whatever you're going to tell your 20-year-old self, tell your 52-year-old self, tell your 53-year-old self, because you've done it, Robin. Like you've won the game of life in many respects. And that's insane.
Yeah,
it is insane. I think people would be surprised to find out all these things. And this is, again, what I say about, Fantasyland and people's expectations of what they think music, showbiz is. They'll see you on a stage and the lights, like doing the stuff. They don't realize the realities of being a working musician necessarily, no matter the level of success or fame you have. Like you could still feel, I'm not enough. Oh, I don't have enough money, or I'm not this, I'm not that. I wish I would have done. And even if you're super famous, the most successful, famous musician in the world ever, you could still be like, oh yeah, but you're only good as good as your last gig, and my last gig did slightly less than the other person who's topping the charts, and I'm not there. So it's like you have to kind of go, okay, at what point am I saying like I'm pretty happy with this, and I'm going to work hard to get to the next level, and not just be like too hard on yourself. So I tried to do that with myself, and also to keep it fun, so that I love the musicians that I work with. I choose the musicians I work with quite carefully, and I want to keep it fun for myself. That's really important, because also in situations that are like stressful, shambolic, whatever, you want to have good people around you, and in a rehearsal room. And if you're spending hours with these people and then spend hours promoting them and stuff, you want to know that it's going to be good, and that the music itself is going to be the payoff.
Phenomenal. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And of course, we will put links in the descriptions to the show that you've got coming up. Yeah. And of course, to your own personal social, so people can follow, give a subscribe, and all of that. And all of that jazz I was about to say.
All that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finish off big with jazz hands.
Yeah, I went for too late. I accidentally delete this.
Jazz hands.
Hey, there it is. Good stuff, guys. Thanks so much, guys. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe and share it with all your buddies. Remember, Sad Panda. Good stuff.